Hello everyone, Yubel Master here, aka 38 the Master 1, bringing you another video for the Yubel community. And this weekend is the premiere event for Phantom Nightmare, which means that your local OTS is probably going to be running a sealed play event with a very nice looking Yubel playmat up for grabs. And so I decided to make a quick video to help you all, the Yubel community, with some tips and tricks for this event so that you have the best chances of winning. During this event, you will be given 5 booster packs, and from those 5 booster packs, you'll be making a deck with a minimum size of 20 cards, which means that 40 of the 45 cards you'll be using will be common cards. So the thing we need to look at first is the common card pool, and I have sorted these cards from best to worst. So let's start with the worst at the bottom here. All of the cards in the side deck I have put there because they are basically unusable. So if you do draw them in one of your packs, then put them to the side and leave them for the side deck. A similar situation with the extra deck monsters, because while under some circumstances you will be able to summon them, it might not always be worth it for the investment of monsters that you put into them. So the key card that we all need to talk about is Moko Moko, formerly known as Fluffy Fluff. This is an illusion monster that cannot be destroyed by battle. So a lot of people will be strategizing to use this card to stall out and hopefully deck out their opponent. Now, since this does have the effect to flip itself face down, if your opponent does do this, that's actually a mistake, because also in the common pool we have Convertible, and Convertible can target one face down monster on either side of the field and send it to the graveyard just to special summon itself. So you can use Convertible in combination with these 3 cards, Time Rewinder, Swarm of Centipedes, and Possession of the Teapot, to flip your opponent's monsters face down and use Convertible as a form of removal. Other forms of removal in the set are E-Stranger Big Bang. However, E-Stranger Big Bang does require a tribute summon, since your opponent is unlikely to have a extra deck monster on the field. So those 2 are the only 2 in the common card pool that are forms of removal. The rest of the cards are sorted by how much attack they have. So starting with the 2000 attack normal monster, we go down the card pool to pretty much the lowest attack being White Sunfish at 1200. The rest are basically close to 0. We have 900, we have 550, and there's a lot of cards with 0 attack and defense, which are basically useless other than defending against your opponent for 1 turn. The spells and traps in the common card pool are also very, very situational, but can technically be used. So if you don't have enough cards to make that 20 card minimum, then you can put some of these spells and traps into your deck. As long as you don't put any of these cards that I have categorized in this side deck area here in your deck, you'll be fine, because these cards in the side deck are absolute bricks. So let's move on to the super rares and have a brief look at this. The most notable are the top 4 cards here. So Spirit of Yubel is pretty much the best card you can pull for seal pack play. This is another card that cannot be destroyed by battle, so you can use this to stall out your opponent. And what's more, if you are lucky enough to pull it in combination with Nightmare Pain, both of these 2 cards actually search each other, and with Nightmare Pain on the field, you can constantly deal damage to your opponent, and your opponent basically can't do anything about it. So a similar situation with Envoy of the Wax Statue. This is a monster that cannot be destroyed by battle and can be used to stall your opponent. And the next 2 cards, Terrors of the Netherroot and Sunset Beat, are cards that can be used to out these indestructible monsters. And then we have a small pool of monsters with decent attack. After the second Goblin Rider card, the attack stats really start to go downhill. Do bear in mind that Rosalina is a tuner, so you can use it for synchro summons. And the rest of the cards are either, once again, very either situational or only usable with specific card combos. So let's move on to the ultra rares, and the only 2 ultra rares to consider are Carnot the Eternal Machine, since this is a 3000 attack monster that can be special summoned from the hand relatively easily, because there are a few cards in the common pool that do activate in the hand or the graveyard. And Goblin Rider Grand Bash can be a good card to boost goblin monsters on your field. And then we have 2 cards with decent attack, and the rest of the cards are pretty bad. The extra deck stuff here is very, very difficult to summon in the ultra rare pool. Funnily enough, Yubel, the Loving Defender Forever, can actually be summoned using Earthbound Fusion. So if you manage to pull Yubel, the Loving Defender Forever, along with Spirit of Yubel and Earthbound Fusion, then there's a chance you might actually summon this, which is really funny. But when you do summon this, this is actually a game winner since it can basically do what Spirit of Yubel plus Nightmare Pain combo does, but in just one card, so you don't need to pull Nightmare Pain. However, we are talking about an ultra rare here, so it's very unlikely that you're going to pull this in 5 packs. Let's move on to the secrets, and we'll only talk about this briefly because secrets are very hard to pull, so it's unlikely you even see this in your 5 packs, but we will talk about Iron Hammer because this is basically a Solemn Judgment. So if you pull it, then definitely put it in your deck. Also, this is the rotor for the goblin cards, so you could use this for consistency, and the rest of the cards are basically kind of useless, especially these side deck cards which cannot be summoned at all. Goblin Rider Big Gabunga is actually a very good card, but do bear in mind this is a secret rare. It is a generic monster that only requires 2 level 3s, and since there are a lot of goblin cards in the pool, you likely are going to get that +1 from the XYZ summon by adding a goblin monster from your deck to your hand, and that goblin monster that you add will probably have an effect to detach materials, which means you will be able to use the second effect to absorb your opponent's monsters. So definitely try to summon Big Gabunga if you are lucky enough to pull it as a secret rare. So otherwise, that's it for my tips and tricks on seal pack play. Essentially, it's all about Moko Moko and whether you can remove it. So remember these cards that I've put at the top of the deck, and I wish you the best of luck in your games this weekend. And most importantly, do remember to have fun and try not to put so much pressure on yourself for winning this playmat. I know it has Yubel in it, and I know you guys probably really want it, but this is a very luck-based format, so set your expectations low and you won't be disappointed. So yeah, do subscribe to the channel because next week is the release of Phantom Nightmare, which is very exciting for all of us. I'll be making tons of Yubel related videos such as deck profiles, guides on how to play a Yubel deck, as well as even a box opening for Phantom Nightmare. So subscribe and turn notifications on. Leave the video a like if you found value out of this video. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.